Please do.
So in the meantime, anyone want to ask anything? I'll share in the meantime, others will join. See what we have done. These are interns from different management colleges across India. And they have internship term of 2 months, approx 2 months. So within these 2 months, I've told them one to open RD account, that is recurring deposit account.
Okay.
So they understand basics of discipline of saving. So somewhere like, ma'am, we are going to get only interest rate of 4%, that is only 70 INR interest as such. So why should we go for investing? Because we're getting very less rate of return. I said it will make you understand the basic discipline of saving on a regular basis. And number two, you can decide about short-term goals. So they've gone for saving for 6 months. So at least they should know about that every point or whatever amount they have within that, they can go for saving certain percentage of it. And this will bring discipline in their life. And secondly, it will develop habit of saving. And thirdly, it will lead to making them more they can think long-term also, short-term also, that what should be our short-term goal, medium-term goal, and long-term goals. And before they enter to help others, or basic idea of well-being, you are also part of it. So, basic idea is to spread it to all people or to make understand other people about financial well-being. But before that, one should believe in itself. Because if you don't believe in it, how will you go for making others convinced about it? Something like marketing, when you're doing marketing of any product, you cannot market that product unless you believe that, yes, this product is worth. So I've told them
That's the truth.
So I've told them to do budgeting, basic budgeting of theirs. So they have started doing budgeting, making their budget. So, okay.
That's awesome.
We'll start. Others, if they want to join, they'll join. Shall we start, Mac?
Let's do it.
Okay. So I would like to, first and foremost, want to thank Jack from bottom of my heart for sparing his time. It's 9 o'clock in the morning over there. And it is his gratefulness. Whenever I tell him anytime, he's there. So last time when I told him, he said, I'll get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm grateful for you because I'm not able to share at that point of time. So he was, and then I told him that I want you to be part of this well-being. He said, it's my honor. So he's a very generous, highly literate person and very grounded in terms of his thought process. So you're lucky to have him, and we are lucky to have him here. And I would request all of you to take maximum benefit of this half an hour and see, this is how discipline you should learn in life. So I told Mac to join at 6:30, but it is yet 5 minutes to go for 6:30, and he was before you people. So that is how your mentor is prior to you people has joined. So that shows that the level of inclination, passion for something you want to do in life. And that is why he's bringing change not only in Tampa and other places, but all across. You can see his LinkedIn profile, you can connect to him, and he'll be glad to make you join his network. Okay, so I would like to introduce Mac Gardner. He's a certified financial planner, practitioner, and has served in the financial services industry for more than 20 years. His passion for financial literacy led him to publish his first book, that is Motivate Your Money. The book serves as a tool to share his extensive experiences in the field of personal financial planning. Through the book, his ability to simplify complex financial concepts through stories and his Mac nuggets, he helps his readers along their financial planning journey. As his family grew and his clients began to ask him for ways to teach their kids about managing money, he decided to use elements from his book to develop a financial literacy platform for young children. His second book, The 4 Money Bears, teaches children about the 4 basic functions of money, and it's a fabulous book. It is a fun and entertaining way for parents to understand and to start the conversation about money with their young children. Mac also serves as founder and chief education officer of FinLit Tech, that is a culmination of financial literacy along with technology. That's the best way to reach to each and every person today. The company's mission is building a bridge between financial literacy and financial technology. FinLit Tech develops financial education tools to start the personal finance education journey from as early as elementary school. So that is very, very important to understand. He has already started this all across US. From elementary school, kids should know. And this he started, I believe, from his own family.
Mhm. Yeah.
So this is how you can do it. You start practicing yourself, you imbibe these values, or you can share these concepts with your family members and ensure that you practice it. And then only you can have synergized impact on society. Because if you're not practicing, we are like political leaders saying something and doing something else. So if we are educators, we should stick to what we say by practice and not by just preaching for it. Okay, so over to you. Thank you so much once
Thank
again
you.
from the bottom of
Oh,
my
no, Dr. Tandon,
Thank you
thank
so
you
much.
all. Thank you all. Can everyone hear me okay? Can I get a thumbs up? Can everyone hear me?
Keep on
All
track.
right. Perfect. So thank you all again for allowing me to spend a little time with you all today. As Dr. Tandon said, my name is Matt Gardner. I'm a certified financial planner. I've spent over 20 years in the financial services industry. And to give you all a little bit of background, I started off my career in banking. I started off as a college student as a teller, and then became a trust administrator. And then I worked in commercial and corporate lending. And then after that, I started working in investment management, then started working with corporate retirement plans, then started working with high net worth, ultra high net worth folks. And my first book, Motivate Your Money, this is what I found extremely fascinating as I work in this industry. And some of you may be fortunate or blessed to be working in banking, working in finance, or working in this space. What I found amazing was that I was helping people with money. They had substantial amounts of money, but they didn't really have any basic understanding of personal finance or financial planning. They just happened to have gotten a job, happened to have been making money and followed some rules. And so what I would do is, as I did these financial plans for these people over time, I find that there were 5 things that these people were doing. They didn't realize they were doing it, but there were 5 things that they were doing that helped to get them to a point of financial success. I call these things the 5 steps to financial success. All right, ready? This is number 1. Plan accordingly. They had some sort of plan in place, right? Plan to buy a home, plan to buy a car, plan for a vacation. They just had a plan. And they sat down with someone. It doesn't have to be super formal. It doesn't have to be a 50-page financial plan, but they had a plan in place for whatever goal they were trying to achieve, right? That's step number 1. Step number 2 is they spend cautiously. Here's what I mean by that. When you're aware of every dollar coming into your home and into your accounts, and extremely aware of every dollar going out, right? That's what we mean by spending cautiously. These people spent less than they made. They always made it a habit to not overspend. And it's the first step in personal finance that I think a lot of people, especially here in the States, you hear about overconsumption and people overspending. So step 2 is to spend cautiously. Step 3, to Dr. Tandon's point, is to save diligently. These people had a habit of saving. They put money away on a regular basis, bank accounts, checking accounts, saving accounts, their retirement accounts. They just knew that in order to reach a long-term goal, they had to save, and they had to save diligently. All right, so refresh, have a plan accordingly, spend cautiously, save diligently. And then once you start doing that, then you can get to that next step, which is to invest wisely. All right. Now think about it. If you if you don't have a plan, it's really hard to, get to wherever you're getting to. If you don't spend cautiously, right, there you don't have anything to save, right? And guess what? If there's nothing saving, there's nothing to invest. And so there's a reason why we put those in that order, right? So once you've got some money in the bank, you've got some money saved up, then you can look at investing. And investing can come in a lot of different ways, right? Company stocks, you have markets, but investing in your own business, that's investing. If you decide to start a business, you're taking your money and you're hoping and you're planning to grow that money long term by owning this business venture. And then the last step is to give generously, right? So, not saying that giving needs to be done last, right? But what we're saying is that what I've seen over my years of working in financial planning and wealth management is that once you can take care of yourself and take care of your family, and you've amassed sufficient assets to be able to take care of the important things in your life, it's a lot easier to give generously down the road because you've amassed these assets, this wealth. So as you're going through life, think about these 5 steps, right? In your own personal life, in your family's life, in the folks that you decide to have children. Plan accordingly, spend cautiously, save diligently, invest wisely, and give generously. So as young adults here on this call, I think those are steps that you can take. That is how I developed the Four Money Bears book. There's only 4 things you can do with money, right? Spend it, save it, invest it, or give it away. And so that's when I created the Four Money Bears to be able to teach young people about these options. And it gets a little deep here, and I like for everyone to sort of hang on with me as we go down this path. What I've found is that I call it the 3 R's to our relationship with money, and it starts very early in our lives. The first R, and think about it yourself in your own personal life, right? And this applies to not just money, this just applies to pretty much anything in life. The first R is you realize what money is, right? At some point in time, you have that first realization of, hey, this is money. I have money. I know what it is. This is mine. After you realize what it is, you then recognize what it does, right? And so when I ask the folks on here, what can you do with money? Typical answers come up, right? What can you do with money? I should throw it out to anyone.
Invest.
Okay, good. What else? It's an easy one.
Save,
Good. What else?
travel,
Travel, yeah, but that's spending. So you're right. So we've got 3, and then what's the other one? Give it away.
Come on. Why others are not saying anything?
Invest.
Yeah, investors. Yeah. So you can remember, there's only 4. Here's the other thing. There's only 4 things you can do with money, folks. There's only 4. There's no spend it, save it, invest it, or give it away. That's it. So think about it. Imagine as a child, all right? I do this thing called a $100 bill challenge. I will go into elementary schools. I'll bring a $100 bill with me, and I show it to these kids, and they're like, "Oh wow, it's a $100 bill." What? And I'll say, "Look, there's no answer you're going to give me that's going to get this $100 bill. So let's make that very clear. No one's getting this $100 bill. But if I gave it to you, what would you do with it?" And what do you think 9 out of 10 children say they would do with money? What do you think? 9 out of 10 kids. What do you think they respond?
spending.
Spend it. Thank you. 9 out of 10 kids, they will say they will spend that money. And then that one kid would say, "Oh, I'll put it in my piggy bank." I was like, okay, you probably wouldn't put the whole thing in your piggy bank, but we understand. So think about it this way. For most young people, a vast majority of them look at spending as the main function of money. And then the second is saving. But how many functions of money are there? 4, right? So imagine we're in a world where you realize what money is, and then you recognize not the 2 functions, but the 4 functions of money, right? That then allows you to rationalize, that's the 3rd R, by the way, how to use this money in your life. So that's why when Dr. Tennant's telling me about the program that she's put together to be able to bring this education to young people, I found it extremely, extremely interesting because I believe in my heart of hearts that the earlier that we can start exposing young minds to what those functions of money are, it gives them a longer runway, right, to be able to utilize money. Because all money is a tool. That's just a tool, right? I joke around, I say money, people care what you look like, people care what you sound like, people care where you're from. Money doesn't. Money's just a tool. So the earlier we know how to utilize that tool, right, to help us on our goal, short-term, mid-term, long-term goals, the better better you will be as an adult if you get this education as a child. So those are my 3 R's again. Remember, you realize what money is early in life, you recognize the functions of money, right? And then once you've done that, you can then rationalize how to use this tool in your lives to get to your goals. So, any questions about anything? I've been talking a lot. Or insights or thoughts, just throw it at me.
Keep asking questions that will help you to get precision in your thought process and also to execute it to help others also. So keep asking.
Sir, please repeat the 5th step. That is, as plan accordingly, spend consciously, save diligently, invest wisely, and the last step in that process
is to give generously.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you're if you have the ability to give generously, give as well as you can, give as much as you can. There's always someone that's going to be better off and worse off than us in life. So it's important, and I think that applies for young people, for them to understand early that there's always going to be someone out there that's not in a good position as they are. And if they can understand why it's important to not just give their money, but to give their time, to give their ingenuity, to give various things, just this concept of giving and why it's important to help a community. I think that's early. The earlier that we can teach that, the better.
I believe generosity, Mac, can also can create a multiplier impact. When you have that zeal that I want to go for helping society and community or others, those who are in need, then in that case, you will plan accordingly. And your planning will be more effective because that will be driving force for you that I want to help society. So first and the foremost, obviously, we being human being, we want to fulfill all our want and need, and then we'll go for passing it on to society. So that's what yours is last in terms of generosity. Before we talk about our self-investment, savings and everything, then we talk about generosity. So if you develop that inclination that, yes, I want to make some impact on society by helping deprived set of people, if I can have some surplus money with me or something surplus that can help others also, to obviously then you'll plan more meticulously. Won't it be that it's a complete circle and it goes on like that?
Yeah. One of the other things,
end point as such that generosity, you stop over there, because then in that case it makes you to drive more towards working harder and hard to get more returns so that you can give it back to society. And I hope these kids, they are following Narayan Murthy. Mac, you might be knowing about Infosys in India. And the founder of Infosys in India is Narayan Murthy, who is, if you look at his lifestyle, he's a very simple and down-to-earth person. But his wife is helping people, and Infosys Trust is helping people in each and every corner of India. So Infosys, it's a blue chip company which is listed in NASDAQ also, and the money which they're getting, they're passing on to community. They are doing it at the level of institution, but we can also make some contribution as an individual.
That's fascinating. And see that what you're seeing there is a person that understands how the capital structure works and the ability to leverage that money to help others. One of the other things too, when we're talking about our finances, so we're developing a game right now called the Four Money Bears Berryville. So we're taking our book, the Four Money Bears, and we're developing a game, a digital app that teaches kids about entrepreneurship as well as money management. And what that game does is it teaches financial literacy. It analyzes the decisions that are being made by the user, and then it tracks it over time, because this is what we believe when it comes to financial literacy and managing money and learning about money. It's not a one-time thing, all right? It's habits. And so if my three kids were sitting next to me right now, they'd be like, yes, Papa, yes, we know. Habits, behaviors, traits. Good financial habits become good financial behaviors, which develop into great financial traits. Becoming wealthy, having financial success does not happen overnight. It just doesn't, right? But the earlier you start these habits, right? The habit of, okay, you know what? Whenever I earn some money, I'm going to put it in a bank account. I'm going to put it in some sort of interest-bearing account. Okay, good. And then depending on the technology that's available to me and the market that's available to me, there's something called fractional shares. There's technology that we have here in the States to allow you to buy $3, $4, $5 worth of a company and put it into an account. And so if you have that mindset, like, okay, whenever I'm going to have money that comes into my hands, into my accounts, I'm going to give them purpose. I'm going to give my money marching orders, right? To say, okay, these are my short-term goals, these are my midterm, these are my long-term goals. And then you start these habits earlier. They just become behaviors. You just don't know any other way but to do it that way. And over time, amazing things can happen when your money is working for you. I like to say that your money can work harder for you than you can work for your money. Think about that. Your money can work harder for you than you can work for your money. You just need to give it the time to be able to do that. The ability to take the ability to look at your finances, and when I say give it marching orders, one of the biggest issues that I've seen as a financial advisor, financial planner, wealth manager, whatever you want to call it, is people will have goals, short, mid, long-term goals, but they won't have the right financial tools for those goals, right? And here's what I mean. There's a story that I heard about a young man of color who became the first in his family to get a college degree, get a great job. He goes to set up for his 401k, which is his retirement account for his company, and the company's doing a match. And someone asks, hey, are you participating in the 401k? He says, yes, I'm doing that. So great. Now, 401k, for those of you who may or may not be familiar, they are tax deferred accounts where you put the money in it and you don't pay any taxes on it until you get the money out, right? But they're created for retirement. So long time periods. If you're 20 something years old, just getting into your job, you don't plan on utilizing that money for another 40 years, right? So you want to be utilizing and investing in companies like stock, like influence, like you said, that are going to grow long term. And when they asked him how his money was invested, he said, yeah, I have everything in money market. No. Money market's paying you less than 1%. That's not where you want to have your money for long-term goals necessarily. Short-term goals, yeah, I mean, emergency funds, short to midterm goals, you want to make sure you have money set aside for something that's liquid, cash bearing. But you want to be able to look long-term and make sure that the finances, your finances are set up to reach whatever goals that you have in mind. Again, been talking a lot. Any questions from anyone out there? Any thoughts about just finances and things that you've experienced on your journey? I'd love to hear them.
I want to say one thing. You said about that people can define at least financial goals. Mm-hmm. And that too may be very vague in terms, because you do not have defined sources that how are you going to achieve those goals. So that means you're talking about financial tools, and financial tools are derived from awareness and knowledge about market, which products are there,
Mm-hmm.
provides these services and products, what is the risk and return trade-off here, and then you decide about taking care about those. So for this, it's very important to understand about financial market intricacies also.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't, Dr. Tana, you make a great point. We haven't even started, talked about risk and risk tolerance, which really is a core aspect of the invest wisely, right? And investing, when young people ask, what's the difference between saving and investing? Aren't you just putting money away? Yeah, but when you save, and let's just say that $100 bill analogy, when you're saving, you're putting that $100 in the bank, and a year from now, you hope to have $100 and maybe a little bit of interest, right? That's saving. With investing.
Sorry, this time is showing 9:21 minutes remaining. So shall I create another meet for this, because it's showing that
No,
9:50.
well, remember, I have a 9:30 call that I have to jump onto, so I'm not.
Okay.
I have a hard stop at 9:30.
Okay.
So
Okay,
just let it.
wind up within 5 minutes, 7 minutes. Then in that
Okay.
case, because
Perfect.
it's showing 8 minutes left.
Perfect. So do you want to wrap up for questions now, or?
That's what I'm saying. That shall I create another link, or shall we go for wrapping up here itself?
Yeah, we can do that. I think hopefully I shared with everyone the basic ideas and the thought process.
You can ask questions, all of you. If you have any questions, you can ask, and we can arrange one more meeting with Mac as per his convenience sometime later. You want to ask any questions? Come on, if you're not asking, then
Quiet bunch. It's late over there. They're ready.
ask something. You don't want to ask anything related to your campaign, what you're working on, how you're great help. So they're working on saving campaign, and they have designed in different manner. Some have created themes, some have created short stories. So some have created cartoon characters. So this is how they're working. They have created different saving campaigns. And saving campaign code is about save before you spend. So this is how they're working on it. So you want to give some advice to them regarding this, that how to make saving campaign more effective.
Yeah, the advice I would give to a savings campaign is it goes back to the underspending, right? It's someone, my uncle, we're from the Caribbean, from Antigua. My uncle would always say, it's not what you have, it's what you have left. Right. And so if you have that mentality just going through life, it's going to be relatively easy to save, because you know that if X is coming in the door, I will always be spending less than X. And so by doing that, there's naturally going to be this buffer or this amount of money that's going to be there. That's going to be savings. As you move through life and you move through the various chapters in your life, and you're a young adult, and then you get married, and then you get kids and all that other stuff, I think having that savings mentality is going to be extremely helpful, because the first habit a child picks up is their parent spending habit.
Absolutely.
So you may be thinking, oh yeah, it's just me, it's just what I do. Then all of a sudden, these other creatures come into the world that are now dependent on you, and they're looking at everything you do, and the habits that you started when you were this age become what they are 5-10 years from now. And so the earlier we can start these habits of spending cautiously, saving diligently, and then having conversations. I believe in my heart of heart, all we are at the end of our days, folks, is a collection of stories. Literally all we are.
Sometimes believe this can be in the other way also. For example, kids can also teach their parents, isn't it so? Sometimes it happens that kids are more concerned about, or are more cautious about spending, and that can create awareness in parents also. So it can be reverse cycle also sometimes, isn't it? It can be possible.
So it's Dr. Tan, it's so funny you say that. I can't tell you how many parents who bought our kids book for their kids are learning
Good. That's great. That's
with
great.
their children about this whole, hey, you know what, no, spending cautiously, and these are things, and this is how you invest, and this is how you give. And so I think you're right. I think that bond that happens between a parent and a young child. I have 3 children myself, and I still sing some of the songs from the shows that my kids watch when they were younger. And that still is a part of me. And so I think you're right. At starting these conversations early can help both the child as well as the parent in a lot of ways. But if you stick to those 5 goals, the 5 steps, I think it'd be very helpful to you, to your family, to your future kids, just to have some guidelines, you know, because if someone asked me, said, well, Mac, you could have just said spend, save, invest, give. Yeah, but you have to be more specific. You have to give your money goals, give them specific goals. And the earlier we can do that and follow through with it, you'd be amazed that 10, 15, 20 years from now, I'm talking to a bunch of millionaires, Dr. Tandon, that follow these steps, started doing really cool things.
The statement which you gave was very powerful. I'll give purpose to my money. So this is one line statement which can make people understand.
Yeah,
If I can give purpose to my money, then that means everything is in order.
yeah. It's funny. I'll ask my clients. I said, okay,
very powerful statement.
What's the purpose to your account? Like, what does it do? And you need to be able to, as you move along your financial lives, you need to be able to look at every financial asset that you have and understand what's the purpose. How does it serve you or your family in life? And you need to be able to point to it and be like, okay, this account is for this account is for that, this is for that. It's something as simple as that. A lot of people can't say. So giving it purpose is very important. All right, we got 3 minutes.
Yeah,
what do we have?
Any questions you have, anyone, and catch this opportunity, you should. That is like sensible people. Ask questions, please.
So,
Sir,
how we can change our behavior to spend or to save? Like if I have behavior of spending a lot, how could I overcome the saving by not spending?
Here's a really cool thing you can try. I've asked people to do this, clients who ask a very similar question. They're like, Mac, you know, a lot of times what it is, people don't realize that they're spending as much as they do. So you know what I asked them to do? Get a little notepad, get a little piece of paper, and seriously try this. And when you wake up in the morning, do this for a week and literally write down everything you spend money on for a week. Write it down. And what happens is that connectivity, one, it forces a habit of, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing it. And then at the end of the week, you can literally look at what it is you're doing, because you won't realize it's a problem until you realize it's a problem.
I've told them to write. And for every entry where they go for spending, that is, they have to mark in red. And every penny which they are saving, they should mark in green. So over the period of time, green should increase in their books and red should reduce. And every successive step where green is increasing, they should pat themselves that, yes, wow, I have done this and I can take it forward. So this is what I have told them to do it. I don't know how many of them are practicing. And this is what cautiously you have to think about. Okay? Cautiously you have to think about where I'm spending, and you will be able to track also once you start jotting down every transaction of yours.
Yep. And trust me, it helps, because people don't realize what they're doing until it's in front of them and they themselves write it down. And there are apps that you can use and kind of track it and look at it yourself, which is fine. But I think that's a good way to help you out.
Any other question? Chandana, you want to ask something? Any question? 1 minute we have. You can ask.
Well, thank you all so much. Again, Dr. Tennant, let me know if in a week or so or sometime in the future that you'd like to do something. Just reach out and we'll schedule another session needed, okay?
Definitely. We'll arrange one more. And this one is not going to suffice, I believe. These students, they need more time to learn. And I believe what we have shared today has already created that foundation. How to go for it? What is the basic requirement you have to have? Prerequisite, I would say,